Hello everybody, and we are back with the URC. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, the URC is back after about 6 weeks of European rugby and the Six Nations. URC's back, rugby's best club championship is back. Let's get into it. Quickly about the flags. Unfortunately, I couldn't hang the Glasgow one up because it's not got the hoops, so you're just going to have to see the better Scottish team being represented. And to remind you of the table, if you have forgotten, it is incredibly tight with between 11th and 4th there is 6 points. So, every single team needs wins to put it vitally. So, without further ado, let's get into it and let's have a look at the games. So, the first game of the weekend is in fact the Scarlets at home to Munster. Now, I've had the lineouts for the Friday night games are out. Some of the internationalists are back, some of the internationalists who maybe didn't play all the games, so maybe featured in one or was on the bench for both of them, or something like that. They are in, quite a lot of them are playing. So you're going to see some of the bigger teams weaker. And I think this is a real chance for some of the smaller teams to pick up some big wins. Now, unfortunately for Scarlets, I think Munster are still going to be too strong for them. Even though Munster, they're obviously the champions, the title holders, and they've not been the best this season. They're sitting in 11th currently, but as I said, they're only like 2 points off top 8, so it's still anyone's game, but they are sitting down in 11th. Scarlets haven't been good either. They're in 13th, and I think that there is quite a big gap between them, even though there's only 2 spaces on the table. So I am going to have to give this one to Munster, I think. Moving on, the next game, again the lineups have been announced, and I am hoping, I'm about 90% sure now, I am going to be able to stream this game tomorrow night, 7:30. So if you want to check in, please be there. It'll be great fun. Zebra Parma hosting Edinburgh Rugby. That's right, I'm going to be finally streaming the Edinburgh game. I've only streamed a couple because of the season tickets and all the stuff being on. But yes, we'll be streaming that. I think it'll be a solid game. Zebra are missing a few key players. Same with Edinburgh. But I've seen Edinburgh's team and I think it's strong enough to get the job done. Zebra, if they were going to do it, this would be one of the games that they might pull something off, but I think Edinburgh will just be too strong for them. Next up, we go to Saturday, so the lineouts aren't announced, but the first game's all South African, so they'll have all the players, because South Africa aren't in the Six Nations, unsurprisingly. And that's, of course, Lions versus Bulls. So Lions have finally caught up with their games. They had a couple of games in hand last time. I think they won one, lost one. So, yeah. But I believe the Lions and Bulls just played each other a couple of weeks ago, so... But at the Emirates Airlines Park, this could go either way. South African derbies are tight to predict. If I had to guess one, I would guess the Bulls, because they are sitting in 4th. They are a bit more comfortable compared to the Lions, who are in 10th. But as I said, the Lions are close. If the Bulls lose this game, they may well slip out the top 8. It's that tight at the minute. So, yeah, I am going to side with the Bulls, although it will be close. Next up is a game that I am quite sad that it is at the time that it is, because I think that it would be a really good encounter, but unfortunately one of the teams is going to be quite bare and be playing a lot of lower down players than the other teams, so, and that's of course Leinster versus Benetton, first versus second. Leinster, of course, the team that's been dominating the league for a while, just can't do it in knockouts. They're a very Irish team, aren't they? But Benetton have been the surprised package. They've lost 1 game this season. They've drawn 1 game this season. They've won 8. So they've been looking incredibly solid, Benetton. And they are playing Leinster. It is at the RDS. Unfortunately, though, because the Italian squad is built so heavily on Benetton's success and all their players, Benetton, I believe, now the lineouts aren't out, they'll be out tomorrow, but Benetton, I believe, will struggle. with that, will suffer with it. They'll have to be playing players who aren't used to it. And I know I put out a video yesterday about Ireland and them, me presuming they're going to drop off soon. And a few people pointed out, and rightly so, the Leinster Academy is going to try and put a halt to that. And how many talent Leinster push out. Leinster could be missing the whole first 15 and probably still have about a 75% win rate in the league. It's just that good. So even though Leinster have lost a lot of first team players, they're still a very good team. So unfortunately for Benetton, I think Leinster's going to win this game. Sad as it is. Next up, we go back to South Africa as we have another all-South African affair. As the Sharks host the Stormers. Sharks, again, really, really poor in the league. Still only won one game this season. Stormers are sitting in 7th. They had a bit of a shaky start, but are slowly starting to get their stuff together. They're right in that tight pack. Again, though, Sharks, they'll have all their internationals back. As both teams will have all the internationals again, because South Africa aren't in the Six Nations. Sharks they've got some big names when they're in it. And Stormers also, but I think I am going to have to give it to the Stormers, just on the facts that I don't think Sharks have been good this season. Mind you, they have had a good 5-6 weeks to work on it and maybe pull something off, but I've almost got to say, if Sharks don't win this game, this season's in complete ruin. I think this is the game that if they lose this, all hopes of top 8 is out the window if there's any left. Of course, the second half of the season, a lot of European teams will be going across to there, so the South African teams usually do better in the second half of the season, so maybe, they could go on a little run and maybe pick top 8, but if they lose this game, I think it's going to be really hard for them, because they'll only have 8 rounds left, and yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to the Stormers, but it's a must-win game for the Sharks. Moving on, Cardiff versus Connacht. I'm wearing my Cardiff shirt for no other reason than the fact I like it. Again, Cardiff are one of the Welsh teams are probably going to struggle the most. They're going to be hit the hardest by the internationals, they always are. Especially in their current state. Connacht, I don't think Connacht's got that heavy influence on the Irish team, if I'm going to be honest. I think they've got a good 3 or 4. I mean, you've got a few big players like Bundy Aki and stuff like that, but in terms of number of players, Connacht usually don't have that much of an impression on the Irish teams, so they're probably going to be fairly strong compared to Cardiff, who's probably going to be missing quite a lot of their first team. So I think Connacht are going to win this game, and to be honest with you, even without this, I think Cardiff are in a bit of an iffy state at the minute. They're on the way back, but they're still in a bit of an iffy state, so I think Connacht are just in a better place, so I'd give it to Connacht. Next up, we got Scotstoun and Glasgow as the Warriors host Dragons. Glasgow, again, will probably have a few players back. Dragons could have a few, because Dragons, I know, don't have the biggest impact on the Welsh team either. They have a few, but like Real Dyer. But yeah, I think Glasgow will just be too strong for the Dragons. I mean, the last time they played, Glasgow put 60 on them. So yeah, Glasgow at Scotstoun, I think, they're sitting in 3rd. They've been really good this season, and I think they'll just build on that and keep pushing. And then last but definitely not least, a game that could be quite interesting actually, Ospreys versus Ulster. And I think Ulster will be near full strength, because they've had one player being involved in one of the games for Ireland over the Six Nations, so chances are quite a few of their players will be released back to the club, and Ospreys are probably the team with the most Welsh involvement. So don't fact check me on that Ospreys thing. I've not looked at the actual figures. I don't know if that's entirely true, but it usually is. But you're basically with full strength Ulster versus a half strength Ospreys. I think a full strength Ulster would still be a full strength Ospreys at the minute, but I don't think it's going to be much. I mean, Ospreys could do something, but I doubt it. But yeah, that's my predictions. So, Munster to beat Scarlets, Edinburgh to beat Zebra, Bulls to beat Lions, Leinster to beat Benetton, Stormers to beat Sharks, Connacht to beat Cardiff, Glasgow to beat Dragons, and Ulster to beat Ospreys. Let me know your thoughts on the games, agree, disagree, whatever. I am absolutely bummed about the Benetton Leinster that it is taking place when it is, because we could have seen such a good game, but no. Benetton will be in ruin, I suspect, player-wise. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, I shall see you absolute legends later.